My name is Emily Carter, and for most of my adult life, I believed I knew what it meant to love, to sacrifice, and to compromise. I married my husband, Daniel Carter, when I was 26 after 3 years of dating. He was the kind of man who made you feel like home wasn't a place but a person, and he quickly became that for me. We built a life together in a small town in Ohio, where he worked as a carpenter and I worked as a school counselor. Life wasn't always easy, but it was steady, and sometimes that steadiness is the greatest blessing. Daniel wasn't a man who asked for much. He was simple, kind, and often put the needs of others before his own. That's why, when he came to me one night with a wish, it caught me off guard. We had just finished dinner, and the two of us were sitting out on the porch, watching the sun set beyond the fields that stretched behind our house. He was unusually quiet, and I knew something was on his mind. I reached for his hand, asking what was troubling him. He hesitated, and then he looked at me with an expression that was both hopeful and uncertain. "Emily," he said, "there's something I've been wanting to ask you. It's more of a wish, really. I don't know if you'll say yes, but I have to tell you anyway." I braced myself, unsure of what was coming. We had no secrets between us, but marriage has a way of holding back small things until they feel heavy enough to share. I told him he could say anything. He took a deep breath. "I've always wanted to travel. Not just a vacation here and there, but to take real time, months maybe, and see the world. I don't want to grow old and realize I never left Ohio except for a few short trips. I want us to do it together. I want us to sell a few things, save up, and just go." I stared at him, surprised. We were rooted so deeply in our small-town routines. We had jobs, responsibilities, and family nearby. Leaving all of that behind, even temporarily, felt like pulling the rug out from under the life we had so carefully built. But then I saw the way his eyes lit up as he spoke, like he was already imagining walking the streets of Rome, hiking in the mountains, or standing on a beach we'd never seen before. I didn't answer right away. That night, I lay awake thinking about what he said. My first instinct was to protect the comfort and security of what we already had. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized Daniel had rarely ever asked me for anything big. And this wasn't just about traveling, it was about him wanting us to share an adventure, something that could shape our lives forever. The next morning over coffee, I looked at him and said, "Daniel, if this is your wish, then I say yes." His face broke into the widest smile I'd seen in years. He leaned across the table and kissed me, thanking me like I'd just given him the greatest gift of his life. And in that moment, I realized that saying yes to him wasn't about giving something up, but about gaining something we didn't even know we needed. We spent the next year planning. We cut back on expenses, sold Daniel's truck that he loved but didn't really need, and put away every extra dollar. We explained our plans to our families, who were shocked at first, but eventually supportive. "It's about time you two did something wild," my father had said with a laugh. When the day finally came, we boarded a plane together for the first time, heading to Italy. I'll never forget how Daniel squeezed my hand during takeoff, his eyes glued to the window as if the entire world had just opened up. For the next 6 months, we traveled across Europe, Asia, and South America. We wandered cobblestone streets in Florence, shared quiet mornings drinking coffee in little cafes in Paris, climbed trails in the Andes, and marveled at the temples in Kyoto. Every day felt like stepping into a dream. But it wasn't just about the places we saw. It was about how we grew together. Marriage can sometimes fall into patterns where you talk about bills, groceries, and work, forgetting to see each other with the same wonder you once did. Traveling broke us free from that. I saw Daniel in a whole new light, his curiosity, his patience when we got lost, the way he learned enough of every local language to say thank you and hello. He saw me, too, as someone braver than I thought I was, willing to take chances and laugh at myself when things didn't go as planned. There were challenges, of course. We got sick in Thailand, lost our luggage once in Spain, and argued over directions more times than I can count. But those moments only made the rest more meaningful. After almost a year, we came home. Our little house in Ohio was waiting, as if no time had passed. But we had changed. We carried those memories with us like treasures, And even when life returned to normal, jobs, responsibilities, daily routines, we saw everything differently. The porch where Daniel first told me his wish now felt like the center of a world we had truly explored together. Years later, when people asked me what the happiest time in my life was, I didn't point to our wedding or even the day our son was born, though those were precious. I pointed to that year of travel, the year I said yes to Daniel's wish. Because in saying yes, I learned that love isn't just about holding on to what you have. It's about leaping together into the unknown and trusting that the journey will bring you closer. Looking back now, I sometimes wonder what would have happened if I had said no. Maybe we would have lived the same steady life, comfortable and predictable. But we would have missed the chance to grow in ways we couldn't have imagined. That's the lesson Daniel gave me with his wish. Sometimes the greatest act of love is the willingness to step outside of comfort and into adventure. Even today, when our son, Matthew, asks us about our travels, Daniel and I share stories of nights spent under strange skies, of laughter echoing through foreign streets, and of how we learned to rely on each other in ways we never had before. Matthew listens with wide eyes, and I can see the same spark in him that once lit up his father's. Maybe one day he'll have a wish of his own, and I'll tell him what I told Daniel. If it matters to your heart, then the answer should be yes. That wish changed everything. It wasn't just about travel, it was about choosing love, trust, and adventure over fear. And it reminded me that sometimes the most extraordinary chapters of life begin with 3 simple words: I said yes.